Hello, and welcome to Business Focus, produced by the Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce. My name is Angela Inzerillo with Impact Business Solutions, and I'm privileged to be your host as we highlight the great work local businesses are doing. Welcome to September. Am I alone? Where did the summer go? And when you go in the stores, it's all Christmas and Halloween decorations. It's crazy. Anyway, we've got a lot of good business focus until then, so stick with me. First up for September, Mr. Damian Sinclair with Northern Virginia Community College. He's here today to talk about the upcoming Titans of the Toll Road event that the Chamber puts on, and he's spearheading some great panels and speakers. You are going to want to listen to this. The theme is innovations and healthcare. Second up, Ms. Ronit Dancis with Data, Dulles Area Transportation Association. She's their employer outreach manager, and they are doing some fabulous things for employers in the region, particularly for their employees as a free service. So you're going to want to learn more about that. And last but not least, I had the opportunity to meet Mr. Larry Brady, co-founder of ABBTECH Professional Resources, and his national account manager, Mr. Nick Linton, celebrating their 30th year in business. Let's go meet them. Please welcome my first guest, Mr. Damian Sinclair, Director of Development with Northern Virginia Community College, here to talk to us today about the Chamber's upcoming Titans of the Toll Road event, Innovations in Healthcare. Mr. Damian, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And thank you so much for helping out the Innovation Council and putting on this Innovations in Healthcare, which we will get to in a minute. It's such an exciting event that's happening later this fall. So thank you for being here and talking to us about it. So yeah, you kind of jumped in on this. And why don't you share like a little bit of your background and kind of how you got here?
Sure. Well, I had lived in Northern Virginia for good 20 years and then had moved out to Annapolis, came back because I wanted to get my son into the school system out here and be closer to some of my old friends. And jumped into this role with Northern Virginia Community College, reached out to an old friend of mine, Charles Kapoor, and one thing led to another. And we had been at an event together in Richmond, which was a healthcare conference. And Charles had mentioned, oh, we were thinking about doing a healthcare event for our Titans of the Toll Road event. And I said, listen, this is part of the work that I have to do anyway for the college. So why don't I help and, do what I can to support that?
Yeah, I mean, and ideal for it. And the viewers will learn why here in a minute. But can you share a little bit about the series? Titans of the Toll Road is fairly new. The Chamber has been doing this through the Innovation Council for the last couple of years. So can you share a little bit more about the series itself?
Yeah. And, I can't speak to it the way that others can, but what I can say is that, it started off really big and very high profile. I believe they had Microsoft, Google, and Bechtel at the first event.
Yep.
And that's really where I see the kind of the name Titans in it. This is meant to be kind of looking at our region, the amazing leadership that is here, and building big dialogues and conversations that can rise to the level of that leadership. And so when we look at Titans of the Toll Road, and when we were looking at healthcare, that was the lens that we were looking at it through.
Yeah, and that's perfect. And let me tell you, we've got some serious Titans that you are working with for our October theme. So share a little bit more about innovations being, healthcare being so broad, and even in the word innovation. So can you share more? Because I really love the direction that this event is going and the folks that you have coming and talking and being a part of this discussion. So can you share more about your vision and what you're putting together?
Yeah, no, I can. And I think that we hit like a real moment with this conversation. And, healthcare from COVID-19 on is just a high level of conversation regionally, nationally. Yeah. And so we ended up with a wealth of potential partners for this event. So what we've done is we've kind of broken the conversation up into two main conversations. So there'll be two panels during the event. The first one is going to be very much focused on education. innovations as it relates to training the future of workforce, and
Nice.
then dialoguing about how are we filling the needs of our region's healthcare workforce. The second one is going to be more focused on kind of the technological innovations at some of our big healthcare partners in the region, really focusing in on customer experience, really focusing in on data and systems to streamline healthcare processes, just making it more affordable and more accessible to the end users, the businesses, the independent individuals. So we found that we had enough people to talk about both of those areas. And so we kind of broke it out with the two, but we're hoping to have a lot of dialogue in between that. We're hoping that the conversation spurs kind of interactions with the attendees and allows an opportunity for people to really kind of learn and engage directly with some of this leadership about how it affects them and how it affects their business.
Yeah, making it relatable. I mean, that is so unique in and of itself, what you're pulling together here. So what other aspects make it different? I think that the engagement is huge. Probably all the participants and your panel and leadership that's going to be part, but also who's in the room. So what other types of activities are making this event so special for us?
Absolutely. Well, we have two amazing moderators. So the moderator for the first panel is Secretary William Hazel, who's a former Health and Human Services Secretary for the state of Virginia.
Yep.
Did that for 8 years under two governors, a Republican and a Democrat. And the second moderator is PJ Kennedy. So he's the Senior Director of New Markets and Emerging Technologies for Leidos.
Amazing.
Secretary Hazel is going to be leading a conversation with kind of our education. And so we'll have the provost for NOVA's, Northern Virginia Community College's medical education campus will be on there. She's going to speak a lot about kind of, they're going to be going through an expansion over the coming years, putting in a virtual hospital, really cool ways of energizing this kind of workforce training to make sure that we're getting enough nurses and enough practitioners out there. George Mason will be on that first panel as well as probably a healthcare hirer. So they're really talking about the challenges that they're facing. On the second panel, you're going to see kind of a lot of those big industry healthcare organizations. Innova is going to be a part of it. HCA. We're also expecting Kaiser Permanente to be a part of it. And they're really going to be talking about those innovations. So from a panelist and speaker perspective, I think we've got something really exciting. But even more fun than that to me is there's going to be a lot of opportunity for engagement. We're going to have some information there for participants about new legislation that's been signed by Governor Youngkin, allowing chambers to provide healthcare consortiums to allow them, small businesses, to sign up for healthcare. I think we'll have some information on that. We're even looking to have, honestly, just cool things there.
Yeah.
Robots or drones or different things that the healthcare industry can provide and share and show off the work that they're doing. But my hope more than any of it is I want participants to be able to feel that they're learning something new about the healthcare field around them, because a healthy workforce is really bottom line for business. And I want them to have an opportunity to engage in a sector that is huge and be able to network with leadership at all of these big institutions that are around us and make those personal connections that can help them out in their business as well.
Yeah. And I love what you said earlier about making it accessible to all, to the small business. This is not just for the big guys. I mean, everyone can be part of the conversation. So it's going to be really, really exciting. And so it's a whole morning. I think it's October?
So it'll be October 20th.
20th? Okay.
The event will run from 8 a.m. till noon. It'll be at the
Trajectory, right?
Yep, Trajectory Event Center, where they've held the Titans event previously.
That's right.
And it's amazing space.
Yeah, they're a great partner too. And as all chamber events and most of them, there's a great opportunity for networking. So there'll be conversation, there'll be education. There's always opportunities for networking and the speakers being a part of the crowd as well. So so how do people learn more? I think we've got a website for it, right?
Yeah, people can go to titansofthetollroad.org.
Perfect.
And that website is up. It is now being populated with the more specific information about the event,
Perfect.
and we'll keep it up to date as things get added to the calendar.
Yeah, so tickets, sponsorship, all of that information. If you got any questions at all, certainly check out the website, ask the chamber, and any other questions or feedback is welcome. Well, Damian, first of all, great to see you. Always great to see you and your smiling face. And thank you for what you're doing in the chamber. I love the fact that you're jumping in, and I love that I get an opportunity to work with you on this and other things. So I'm looking forward to the coming year.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think this event is going to be, I think that the Titans event has unfortunately had been there during the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
And this one I feel is going to really knock it out of the park. I think everybody's going to want to be there and really experience this critical and important dialogue that's going on right now.
Well, thank you again. We're looking forward to it.
My pleasure.
So please welcome my next guest, Ms. Ronit Aviva Dancis, our Employee Outreach Manager with Dulles Area Transportation Association, also known as DATA.
Employer Outreach Manager.
Employer Outreach Manager. Thank you for that correction.
Okay.
Details. So it's going to be a good interview, I can tell. How are you? It's good to see you. Thanks for being here.
It's such a pleasure. Really love talking with you.
I was so excited to learn about what you guys are doing and thrilled to have you here to share it with the community because there's so much going on and so much opportunity. So this is absolutely awesome. Well, what I want to do is just take a little bit to share about your background and actually how you got to data.
Okay. Well, I started out actually as a rail advocate over across the river for the Purple Line, which is very similar to the Silver Line. It's one of the new things that's being built.
Yes.
And I worked for 3 years at the Tyson's Partnership with businesses on mobility and transportation, which was a blast. And I have now been at the Dulles Area Transportation Association, aka DATA, for almost a year.
Wow. I mean, it's perfect. It sounds totally ideal. And I know you're entrenched in it, so I'm really glad that you're here to share everything. So yeah, people probably don't even know what it's about. So what is data?
Oh, my pleasure. DATA is a nonprofit. And, our mission is to help people get where they need to go, basically, which is, whether that is if it's a vet that needs a ride to the doctor's office, whether somebody needs to get to school or to work. So we have a whole suite of programs. And again, we are a nonprofit. So pretty much everything we do is free. And I think and I guess I just want to say what it's always inspired me is that DATA's mission and statement is, mobility is a human right.
Yeah.
We all have got somewhere that we need to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting the help from our employer and getting help from organizations like yourself. Again, people just don't know about it. So what do you do specifically there?
Oh, well, I get to work with businesses to make sure they've got the transportation solutions for their employees. And that can be anything from, let's say, somebody saying, those high gas prices, they're just making it hard. And we say, okay, well, let's see, are there options that, are there carpooling or van pooling options so that your workers can travel in the toll lanes for free? Do you want to try and get your employees to use metro or buses more? Yeah. Well, there's a way to get free $50 metro cards. There's a whole bunch of opportunities out there. And basically our job really is to do, keep a track of all those details and then, so we can find you the solutions that, that will help you and your employees.
Yeah, it's about education and awareness. I mean, I think with everybody working from home these days, do organizations even think about commuting? I mean, is that kind of like, I don't know. When I hear about commuting, I think of me being back in New York, right? Working.
Oh, no, absolutely. And I get that question a lot. But here's the thing. Spoiler alert, people like being with people, and yes, there are a lot of folks who are working from home, but really kind of what we're seeing sort of as the, sort of that we're seeing a hybrid model of, sort of settling in for the long haul.
Yeah.
We're in the office, 2 to 3 days a week. And obviously this varies across industries and businesses.
Right.
But, 2 to 3 days a week is a pretty reasonable assumption. And I put it this way, that is a minimum. Let's say it's only 2 days a week.
Yeah.
It's 4 nasty commutes that could ruin your productivity, ruin your day. One or even one. Okay, but it could be up to 4.
You're right.
Yeah, that is up to 4. And you know what? That might make you think about maybe I want to work someplace that closer to home, different commute. So yeah, no, it's the commute still matters, absolutely.
Well, with the Silver Line coming to our area, there's going to be a lot more of that, right? So I guess for you, like, what's a sweet spot of a company that you work with, and what are some tips to help them, prepare for the Silver Line?
Okay. Well, I guess I will say that really, I mean, what we do can apply to companies of all sizes. Certainly, you're a company of, I think, 2 people, and depending on what it is. And certainly companies that have with thousands have other resources, but everything, but they may not have some of the local perspective. So we can serve our services apply to companies of all shapes and sizes. I will say that I think companies where we provide a particularly important value add, I would say in the 25 to 500 size, but our value add is everywhere. But for those, I think there is a particular extra value add for them.
And if people don't really understand what they don't know, if you know what I'm saying, right? You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Right phrase, right? Don't you guys do some sort of commuter checkup? Is that what it's called? I call it an audit. And
that is what we're calling it. And basically it's, I know it's, basically we're just kind of, basically we just have a little, it's a quick 30-minute call where, we check in with you, and it's kind of like, we've already done our research, so we know where you are, with something about you, but, we hear from you, where are your employees coming from? Where do you want to recruit talent with all the opportunities that the line is opening up? What are the pain points that you're hearing? What are some of the concerns? Do you have sustainability issues? Do you want to work in some health and wellness? We hear about that from you, and then we can tell you, here's some options that you may not have heard of, particularly with the Silver Line opening. It's kind of like, the whole world is changing. It sounds a little over dramatic, but, we now have buses that will be taking employees from West Virginia to Ashburn. There will be express buses that will be, I know. And that's on top of, it's a completely different world. And, you now have opportunity. We know that some of those, the young techies who may seem to prefer, some of them prefer a more urban lifestyle, and they may be more likely to be living in DC and Arlington, and they may be more likely to prefer metro commute. Well, this opens up opportunities as well. I mean, it is just extraordinary.
So is it something that HR departments or businesses start doing as a benefit, and maybe an FSA? I don't even know if I'm saying it right. I'm used to HSA, but I know they also call it FSA. Is that something that you do now that we're approaching the fall?
That is absolutely something that we do. And one thing that I think one thing that we have realized is that commuter benefits, which are very similar to dental, health, and retirement, and that it allows, you're using pre-tax money for certain purposes. So you are saving. So, the business saves, cuts costs because they're saving on FICA. The employee saves money on taxes. These are really common and really well known in Arlington and DC. And because, this part of Fairfax is a little less used to having, metro around, they're not as well known. And folks have, so our urgent part of our big push right now is to get people, to say they exist. They are awesome. They will make you even more competitive. Do you have them? Do you want to improve them? Where are they right now? So our big part of our commuter checkup is making sure that, do you have a commuter benefits program? Is it everything that it needs to be for your business to thrive? To thrive even more.
And they don't have to wait for open enrollment, right?
They do not, because look, the whole point of people, when this benefit was set up, it's like, well, people commute, 1 month you might be in one office, another month you might be in another office, at a location. Your, percentage of time that you spend at home versus office might change, during the summer. So it is on a monthly basis. Okay. You can, the employee can change, adjust, withdraw every single month. So, so it is all basically it was built hybrid and nimble, which is awesome. And, there is, we know that the Silver Line new stations will be opening sometime before the end of the year. And it can, you can set up a program, of course, each business is different, but you can set it up within 4 to 8 weeks. So, the companies that want to get ahead, they can do it now, and their employees can take advantage of it on day one when they start riding.
So that's what businesses should be doing now. As we leave and wrap up, it's like that's exactly right. What do you want businesses to be doing right now?
I want them, call data, get a hold of us. Our website is datatrans.org. I think you'll see it there at the bottom of the screen. Get a hold of us. We would be thrilled to talk to you and, answer any questions, give you, all the solutions that you need. We are co-sponsoring with this chamber and a few other partners. We will be co-sponsoring a commuter benefits webinar 101 in the first 2 weeks of October. So stay tuned for that.
Awesome. Yeah, look for that data information coming to the chamber as well as on the screen if we have it. But thank you. Please welcome my next guest, Mr. Larry Brady, COO, and Nick Linton, National Account Manager with ABBTECH Professional Services. Gentlemen.
Hello, Angela.
Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
How are you?
Doing great.
Good. It's good to have you
in paradise.
Now, there you go. It is paradise, right? I learned something recently, again, and it's always good to hear. It's all about perspective. You can change perspective. You can control that. And yes, so living in paradise. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, gentlemen. I'm really excited to have you both here as fairly new members of the chamber. I know it's been a number of months, so I'm really excited to highlight what you guys do because you're helping all businesses out there. And this is just a great opportunity to share that. So why don't you kick it off, Mr. Larry, about your history and how ABBTECH got started, being one of the co-founders, apparently working out of a garage like most.
Yes, Kathleen Baker, Bob Baker, and myself, we worked for a national staffing firm. We decided to leave and we decided to start our own business. That was in 1992. So we're 30 years old today. We started.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's huge. That is absolutely awesome. Anyway, sorry. Good. Keep going.
It's been a wild ride.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, the world has changed, if you're not adapting. So, and you guys have, and you've done it well. So yeah, sorry. Keep going.
So started our business in Great Falls in Kathleen's basement. I shared my seat with a cat. I was allergic to cats. So thank goodness, after about a month, we moved into our own business condo.
There you go.
ABBTECH stands for Baker Brady Technical Employment Company, doing a lot of work in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, supplying basically staff augmentation services. So it was more engineers, designers, drafters, beltway bandit type people, tech writers, and so on. So that's an old term. A lot of the young people will not.
I was going to say, I understand it. I just got called old.
Nick probably has never heard of it.
Oh, Nick definitely hasn't heard it. Yeah.
I've heard it from Bob.
So then things started to change after about 5 years because manufacturing left the area, leaving other parts of the country, cheaper parts of the country out of the country. So we had to adapt, and IT was getting big at that point. So we migrated to IT. So now about 75% of our business is IT related. We still do the engineering, we still do professional, technical, and administrative placements. Now, we also got into government contracting, U.S. government contracting. We have a GSA Schedule 70, so we've been using that for probably over 20 years now. And so most of our work is probably federal government, but we still do a lot of staff augmentation. The companies come to us when they need staff quickly because they're it could be peak load situations. They could have won a big contract, whatever, and they need to get those bodies in the seats quickly, or else they're losing money for every day that the slot goes unfilled. They can be billing for that slot. So it was the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and now we're nationwide. We even placed people in the U.S. government territories such as Guam, Puerto Rico, American Samoa, U.S. Virgin Islands, placed people in Alaska. I think one of the oldest people we placed was in Arizona, 75 years old. And
really? Hey, keep working. I love it. I love it.
It's going strong.
That's awesome. I'm sure that Nick gets to visit all these places, right, Nick?
Not yet, but hopefully soon.
Working on it. So, so you guys, like you said, you've had to adapt and you've had to reach the market. So do you see yourselves more like what's the vision for the organization a little bit further out? What do you see yourselves?
To continue with the government contract, helping the U.S. and state and local governments with their staff to make sure their projects get done, to help our customers who are government subcontractors or commercial clients to continue to place quality people in a timely manner.
Well, as we know, staffing is tough right now, and retention is hard, and keeping good employees and getting good employees. So what'd you say is the biggest challenge most of your clients have? Because I know you guys are doing a lot for them. So what's the biggest challenge, and how do you uniquely help them is the question I like to ask.
Nick, do you want to go ahead with that?
Yeah, so a lot of challenges that my clients seem to express to me is finding not only the rightly qualified candidate, but candidates that are willing to actually go on site, whether it be a hybrid schedule or a fully on-site schedule. A lot of people are very comfortable, especially in the IT world, being remote and being able to work from home and have an employment in a different state that doesn't require you to actually go into office. And things are starting to kind of change gears back into where people are required to come back in, especially with some of these government contracts and such. So finding those people for a lot of my clients is a struggle, and that's where we would come in, because they don't have to use their resources, time, effort, energy, and it's a lot of funds on their behalf. They just come to us and we handle all of that for them, and they can trust us because we have a 30-year track record of finding qualified people.
So that leads right into more about your services. So at a high level, what are the services that you do provide? Because people hear staffing and they automatically kind of define that, but what exactly would you say is your services?
So we have different placement models. We have direct hire placements where we find the candidate, they interview with the client company, and then once it goes forward from there, that candidate is then 100% placed under that company. It's under their benefits, HR, or whatever their role would entail. And then we have the contract placements, which are popular, especially for government contracting and things like that, where we have an allotted amount of time where the contract would be, let's say 6 months. And then we would bill the company for our employee. That candidate would fall under our employment, be under our HR, benefits, payroll, and we would just bill out the company so that they don't have to utilize any of that on their end. And then we have contract to direct, where if they're looking for, a direct hire, but they don't necessarily want to take people on immediately. They kind of want to, we call it try before you buy model.
Yeah.
So that they can, try them out, make sure that they fit within the company and really express the same beliefs, and then go from there. Once after the 6 months, they can take them on directly and not have to actually pay any additional money on top of that.
Yeah.
Now, there are times where we have, especially large customers, they come to us, they want to do the contract to direct. After 6 months, take them on direct. As it turns out, 6 months comes along, a year goes by, and they're still ABBTECH employees because they're finding out that it's cheaper with our benefit structure. We have good benefits, but just our structure is a lot less expensive than if they brought the people in direct.
Is that a sweet spot for you, Larry? It sounds like it might be. What size company? Yeah,
it is. We are a large business. We're a woman-owned large business. We just graduated from the small business world, but we're still small enough where we don't have all those extra costs.
Right. Well, awesome. Well, as I always say, time flies when you're having fun. So before we leave, I just want to make sure people know how to get in touch with you. We'll have it scroll up on the screen. What's the best way I know you can call Nick at any time, right? So let's just give your cell phone, social security number, and then people will reach out to you. So
my cell phone number is 703-817-6377. You can reach me anytime. Phone call or text is fine. And then my email is going to be nick.linton@abbtech.com.
And what's your guys' website? Is it just ABBTECH? What is it?
ABBTECH.com.
ABBTECH. Perfect. Great. So people can check you
Very
out.
simple. Come look at our site. Check us out.
Yeah, absolutely. And have a conversation, even if you're just kind of exploring what options are out there. So, well, gentlemen, I appreciate your sharing your time with me today and with the audience here. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Maybe we'll get Larry out to one of the networking events. I see Nick a lot. So maybe we can get Larry.
I've been to a couple.
Oh, okay. And now I know. Now I'm going to have to go find you. All right. Well, gentlemen, a pleasure.
Angela, very nice to meet you.
My pleasure. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon.
Thank you. Good to see you again, Angela. Thank you.